Hello, this is John Page. I'm the president of the Spencer East Brookfield Steelers, and we're here today to talk a little bit about our league and upcoming events that we have. I'm joined today with my vice president of the league, Jim Power, and Jim's going to explain to you a little bit about when our league starts for this coming year, some events that we're going to have for fundraising that are coming up, and then after that I'm going to go into a little history of the Pop Warner and how it all came about and some of the benefits that we have that we're offering to the community here in Spencer. So, Jim?
Thanks, John. Appreciate that. Our next sign up for football and cheerleading is going to take place on Saturday, April 21st, which is the opening day of the Spencer East Brookfield Little League down at their field from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Signing up football players and cheerleaders on that day, as well as Saturday, May 5th at the fire station in Spencer, which is also going to be the day of our can and bottle drive for our organization. The other fundraiser that we have that's really big and it's going to be a great time, and we've put a lot of work and effort into it, is the meat raffle, which is going to be held on Friday, April 27th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. at the Spencer Country Inn. John, could you give us a brief history of where Pop Warner came from?
Sure. One of the things that I think a lot of people have questions about is how long Pop Warner's been around and how was it started. And it was founded in 1929 by a man named Joe Tomlin, who owned a manufacturing company in Pennsylvania. And the kids in the area were breaking windows to his company, so he tried to find a way that he could figure out how he could get these kids to be more responsible in their lives, and he thought football would be a great avenue. So we got together with a bunch of other manufacturers in the area, and he developed what they call the Junior Football League, and that started in 1929. Shortly after, though, we had the crash of the markets, and the economy went bad, and the program folded for a little bit. In 1933, a man by Glenn Pop Scobie came to Temple, the Temple Owls in Pennsylvania, to coach for them. And when he did that, he met Joe Tomlin, and Joe Tomlin explained to him how he wanted to start this program back up, and that's really the founding part of the program. So from the late 30s into the late 40s, it was more of a youth program that was developed for 15-year-old and 16-year-olds. After that, in the 50s to the 70s, when the organization became more developed and more people became involved in it, more states involved in it, that's when it became to what it is now. And today there's over 42 states. It's in 5 different countries. It's basically 83 years old. One of the great things about it is that we have a national rules, and a lot of organizations similar to that are like Little League because they have national rules. It makes an equal playing field all around. One of the other main aspects that Joe Tomlin and Pop Scobie wanted was that they wanted to put the academics in athletics together. They wanted to go hand in hand. So it's really important that the scholastic part of football be with the athletic part. And today in Pop Warner, we have those standards that are there, and it's called our All-American Scholastic Program. What it's designed to do is that there is a scholarship program that we offer, and it's for kids that would be last in our program, which is 15 and 16-year-olds. And that allows them to earn up to $1,500 towards a scholarship fund. Those funds, though, again, it's a particular person or child that would qualify for that academically. So the standards that we have, again, it goes from All-American, which there are only 35 football and 35 cheer that qualify for that nationally. Then there's the second team, which is based on a scoring that they have, that's a standardized scoring within Pop Warner, and they have to score a 101 to 108. And then there's the honorable mention team, which would be from 96 to 101 on their scoring. Now, we were fortunate enough to have this year, we had a child qualify for that and went down to Pop Warner regionals here and was an honorable mention. So of the 119 kids that were there, he for the 8th graders, he was the 4th picked on that, which I thought was
That was really
very
good.
good thing.
Yep.
So a person, let's just say a child that might struggle in school, we also have a program that's for that too, that's involved with the All-American program. And that allows a child to get progress reports that we monitor to make sure that they're doing their schoolwork. And Coach Power can tell you that when he's coaching his kids, that's one of the first things that we always do, and we work with the parents, and we help them, and we try to build character within these children so that they can develop into good citizens in the community.
John, that was very, very interesting about that. You know, I didn't really realize that about Temple University. But the one thing that I didn't hear in there was about the cheerleading. Was there anything in there regarding that as well?
Yes,
or-
during the 40s and 50s, it was more, again, 15-year-olds. But then in the 60s and 70s, of course, there were parents that had sons that were playing and had daughters involved. So they looked into the cheering aspect, and that's when the cheering part of Pop Warner really took off. So from the 70s into what we have now. And they actually have another category that's been evolving, and that's dance. So there's football, cheer, and dance that we have now.
involved, yeah.
Right. And these are all, again, for the cheering, there's national standards that they have so that the competition levels are all equal. So they have levels just like we have at the football levels that Jim will talk about.
Right. And, you know, speaking of that, John, the levels that we do have available for players in football are from Tiny Mite, which is 5 to 7, the Mighty Mites, which is 7 and 8s, the Junior Pee Wee, which is 9 and 10 to 11 years old, the Pee Wee level, which is the level that I happen to coach, which is 10, 11, and 12. Junior midget, which is 12, actually from 11 to 13, depending upon the weight. And excuse me, we have the unlimited level, which, John, correct me if I'm wrong, what the minimum weight on that is, the unlimited is?
It's 115.
115, and then it goes up, and that's basically for the 7th and 8th graders.
Correct.
For that particular level.
You can go from the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah, the other thing that we did briefly want to broach the subject of was concussions, because we know there are a lot of parents out there, and rightfully so, that are concerned about the aspect of their child getting a concussion while playing football. Well, football is definitely a rough sport, but if it's taught correctly, and the way Pop Warner structures it into the weight classes where the kids are more evenly matched, that has kind of led to a decrease in the concussions, at least in our particular area of the country. Pop Warner has strict rules on the diagnosis of concussions, where a child has to actually be cleared by a neurologist before they are allowed back to play on anyone's team. Excuse me. But the incident, because of that reporting, the incident of concussion in Central Mass Pop Warner, where 4,000 kids play football, was 4 concussions. And that is a remarkable testament to the coaches and the officials on game day to help to see that these kids are taken care of very well. John?
Another thing on the lower levels that we have, the Mighty Mites and the Tiny Mite levels, these are instructional leagues, or it's an instructional division.
Yes.
So the coaches are allowed on the field. There's no kickoffs.
No punts.
There's no punts. They're allowed 10 plays on offense, 10 plays on defense. They spot the ball at the midfield mark. They don't keep any score, but we know the kids keep score.
The kids keep score themselves. But
Right.
They play half
But
a field.
They
don't
play
they,
half
John?
a field, and
Yeah.
again, there's 2 coaches that are allowed on for offense, and there's 2 coaches allowed on for defense. And again, it's a structured environment so that the kids get to have the chance to understand exactly what it is that they're playing,
Right.
and to know each of the positions. So nobody's put right into a position where they're going to be asked to do something that might not be capable of.
And the practice schedule for those younger children, which, by the way, we're always wanting the younger children to build up our organization, the 7, 8, 9-year-old group. We could definitely use more of those players in this year coming up. But we like to call it, what, John? Dairy Queen football, because that's where we end up with them most of the time, because
Right.
they just like to have fun. at that level. So.
And it's really a good thing. The field that we use, Wire Village Field, it's a very, very nice field. The refs that are there are all certified by Central Mass. Central Mass Pop Warner also has requirements that we have to have a certified CPR there. All of the coaches, there is
Yes.
a mandatory that one coach has to be CPR certified. We're in a process now of doing some fundraising so we can get a defibrillator up at the field.
All the coaches actually are
You can talk a little bit more about that.
certified, as
Certified
far
as-
as fundamentally to teach the
Right.
game of football by USA Football through Pop Warner, by clinics at Gillette Stadium that the Patriots are associated with, and through online training as well. So all of our coaches are certified to teach the game and to a certain extent, to a certain extent, recognize any injuries that happen to any players.
Another aspect of the coaching that I wanted to talk about is that within our league, myself and Jim do not have any children that play. I had a son that played a while back. My daughter participated too in cheering. But we felt that it was important to have coaches that were not parents. So all of our head coaches cannot be a parent of a child. They can be coaches on the coaching staff, but the head coach himself or herself is not a parent. And I think that that's very, very important for our league. And I know that there are some organizations that disagree with that philosophy, but I feel it's very, very important. And from the response that I've gotten, and Jim can attest to this, that we've gotten from this community, I think that it's a very viable and a good thing for our organization. And it's one thing that makes us a little bit unique. That's how I really perceive it, and I'm sure if you have any questions on it, you can always ask us about it.
And by the way, feel free to visit our website, which is sebsteelers.org, or you can simply visit eTeams, and you can get to us through there as well. So there's a lot of information there. There's actually registration packets there. If you can't make it to any of our registrations, you can certainly register online. Our post office box is on there as well if you want to remit the yearly fee as well.
And I'll talk a little bit about the fees. We've had some early signups, and I believe it was $100.
Yep.
Okay. Right now, our fee is $135. If you, however, sign up before our July, is it July?
But before July 1st, the end of
Before
school.
July 1st, it's going to be $100. So anybody that signs up after, it'll be the $135.
And if you bring a friend, if you come together with someone, it's $75 a piece.
Right. And I also would like to say, if I know the times right now are hard, and one of the main reasons that myself and Jim did start this organization is because we know that it's tough in the community when you have so many other things to pick from and the expenses of that. You know, there's fall soccer, there's basketball leagues, there's baseball. All of these things cost money. So we're trying to keep the cost down as much as possible. What we do understand, though, is that there's parents out there that might not have the financial capabilities to have their children either cheer or play. And we want you to know, and that's why we're here.
Right.
We want you to know that if you come to us, we have a program where you don't have to pay anything. Okay? So you can talk to us about that. And we want, the more important thing is that your child, whether it be a son or daughter or a guardian that you're of, that they be able to participate in this sport, in the cheering, in a family organization that's rooted in this community and wants to be there.
Anybody that's
Anything else?
anybody that plays calls it Steeler family, and there's a reason for that because that's the way we approach it. So we want to thank you guys for sticking with us, and with many other choices out there, I'd probably be biased to the ball game right now, huh, John?
Yes.
I have there was a young man that I came to know and coach in youth football for let's see, about 3 or 4 years. And when he came to high school, he for whatever the reason, like many kids do, he started to go down kind of like the wrong road, shall we say, a little bit. And so then he came back and found football because football had kept him in line before, so to speak, because he had a rough upbringing. And so because of his foundation in youth football, he came back around to play high school football, and now has got to the point where he's turned his life around and has entered into, I believe, junior college, John, if I'm
Yes.
not mistaken.
Yep.
But so that's a true story of a young man who found the discipline from playing football that he could apply to his own life, and was able to turn his life around because of that.
I want to thank you for listening in tonight. I hope that this has been beneficial to you and that you will consider coming to join our organization. And I want you to know that, the mission has stayed the same since 1929, that, athletics and scholastics go hand in hand. And it's something that's very important to us, and we want to offer that to this community. And I'm just hoping that you guys want to be part of it. And we have the sign-ups coming up. You can go to our website, sebsteelers.org. It's going to be on the screen. Our phone numbers will be there. You can look at some of the board members that are there and call them up. They'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Show up at our upcoming events if you have questions about us and you'd like to talk to us about that. That's not a problem. We welcome you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.